Gen Z is expected to be poorer than their parents. They'll work their entire life and retire with nothing. I know you've looked at your parents and thought, how did they figure life out at 25? While you're still wondering if you can afford your own place, you're not alone. Millions of young pigeons feel this way too, and the numbers actually prove it. Gen Z saves more than boomers did at the same age, and yet half of them still need financial help from their parents. They did everything right, but somehow it still wasn't enough. Something went wrong, and it wasn't them. So if the problem isn't Gen Z, then what is it? And why did it happen to this generation specifically? A normal life used to run on two things. Gen Z got cut off from both at the same time. Let's start with the first one, housing. Your parents bought a home on one salary. Nothing fancy, just a normal place to live. Now look at you, better educated than they were. Maybe 2 salaries in the house, and the math still doesn't work. Not even close. Pigeon has a master's degree and a roommate named Kevin. Wait, did he eat my sandwich? Kevin. In the mid-1980s, a typical home was around 3.5 times a typical household income. By 2022, it was closer to 6 times. In real terms, a household earning $75,000 a year is looking at a $450,000 house. How can you even afford that? That makes no sense. Pigeons need a place to live, but that's just the first number. The second is somehow worse, and most pigeons don't realize it. Ask yourself this: will you actually be able to retire one day? Your grandmother never had to ask that question. She knew exactly how much, exactly when. A job came with a deal. Show up, work 30 years, retire with a guaranteed monthly check. If the market crashed, that was not her problem. The employer absorbed the risk. That was a real pension. Then companies replaced it with something that sounds almost the same, a 401k. They called it an upgrade. Pigeon has questions about that. By the way, it was never designed as a retirement system. It was a tax loophole for executives. So now the deal is, here is a pot of money. You manage it yourself. You pick the investments. If the stock market goes up, great. You have a retirement. If it goes down, congratulations, you work until you die. Pigeon clicked moderate risk 3 years ago. He has no idea what that means. So Gen Z can do everything right their entire life and still not feel safe. So is this just bad luck? Of course not. Look at this number. Baby boomers held about 21% of US national wealth when they were Gen Z's age. Gen Z and millennials together, around 11%. At Gen Z's age, boomers were already building equity, houses going up, pensions compounding, wealth growing. At the same age, Gen Z's most valuable possessions are Pokemon cards and a folder full of memes. And none of this happened by accident. Housing prices detached from income, mostly 1970s through 1990s. Pensions eliminated, mostly 1980s through 2000s. Both shifted in the same 30-year window. They moved risk away from institutions and onto pigeons. That's like your apartment losing heat and hot water the same month. One problem, bad luck. 2 at the same time, sketchy. Like your grandma who calls to ask if you got her message, then sends it again, then calls again. Please stop. Both shifts came wrapped in good news. Renting is flexible. Move whenever you want. The 401k gives you freedom. You control your own investment. The message was always the same. This is better for you. But who wrote the message? The companies offloading the pension risk onto employees, the landlords who bought before prices tripled, the investors who turned housing into an asset class instead of a place to live. None of them were the ones who would rent forever. We gave you freedom to rent forever, to manage your own retirement badly, to be one bad market year away from working until you're 74. Pigeon is very free and completely broke. Gen Z home ownership at 27, around 33%. Boomers at the same age, around 40%. Can you see the pattern? And when Gen Z complains, here's what they hear back. Stop buying coffee. Cook at home. Cancel Netflix. Have you tried a budget? The median US home costs $420,000. A coffee costs $5. That's 84,000 coffees. 84,000. One a day. That's 230 years of skipped coffees to buy the house. Pigeon did the math, then bought a coffee anyway. His 230 years and one day away feels doable. The coffee was never the problem, but it's a very convenient thing to point out, because if Gen Z's problem is coffee, nobody has to fix the housing market. Nobody has to explain why pensions disappeared. The system stays exactly as it is, and everybody gets to feel like the problem is your spending habits. So what does it mean for pigeons like you and me? First, there's no safety net anymore. One unexpected bill is all it takes. Job loss, health scare, car breaks down. Boomers had equity, a house they could sell if things went wrong. Gen Z has a credit card and mom's contact saved as emergency. Mom, can I have $200 for Pokemon cards? They're an investment. You're almost 30. Please stop. So you cannot quit the job you hate or start something new. One wrong move and you're texting mom again. Then the burnout. You did everything they told you. Studied, worked, saved what you could. Your parents got a stable job with a high school diploma. You need a master's to get an interview for the same position. You paid more to have less of an advantage and you still feel behind. Your parents ask when you're buying a house. Your feed shows someone your age who made it. Your family thinks you just need to try harder. Your boss sends a LinkedIn article about mindset. And underneath all of it, the quiet guilt of feeling like you're failing at something everyone before you seem to manage fine. Pigeon posted on Reddit last week, "Am I the only one who feels behind in life?" 47,000 upvotes. He was not the only one. And then the part that makes young pigeons angry. Every month, Gen Z pays into Social Security. That money funds retirements right now. Boomer retirements. When Gen Z retires, the fund will likely be gone. They paid in full, but won't get it back. Funding the retirement of the generation that priced them out of housing, while being told the problem is their spending habits and their mindset and their Pokemon cards. Nobody put that on a billboard. Maybe someone should. So what do you do with all of this? First, name it correctly. Stop calling it bad luck. Gen Z is not a lazy generation. And no, they don't spend all their money on coffee. The system has been redesigned for decades and you were busy following the rules. Housing, pensions, both shifted in the same window, same direction. So not really a coincidence. The moment you stop calling it personal failure, everything looks different because you can't fix a system you think is your fault. Pigeon's dad said, "When I was your age, I just worked harder." Okay, dad, then work harder and fix the Wi-Fi on your own. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Gen Z is one of the largest voting blocs in history and among the least likely to show up on election day. Housing policy, pension reform, social security, they're political decisions made by pigeons who get elected. They're counting on Gen Z to stay home. So every election Gen Z skips is a vote for keeping things exactly as they are. And the last one, stop waiting for the old path to work. Job, house, pension. That sequence was built for a world that no longer exists. The pigeons adapting fastest aren't waiting for the system to fix itself. They're building outside it. Small income streams, side projects, things you can start with a laptop and a Wi-Fi password. And I know it's not easy and it really isn't fair, but you cannot wait your entire life for the system to change. Pigeon will start when he feels ready. His therapist says he's been ready for 2 years. Pigeon disagrees. The system is broken and that's real, but broken doesn't mean over. The rules changed and the pigeons who understand the new rules, even unfair ones, figure it out before everyone else does. That's the only edge available right now. So stop blaming yourself for a math problem that was never yours to solve. Learn the rules, name the problem, show up. That's a great start. And if you want to know why Gen Z refuses to have kids, click the video on screen now. Subscribe to support Pigeon so he can buy a house one day.